Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Gemini is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. Two of Pentacles. This is a change, right? I think you're someone who is making a lot of small changes in your life, trying to be more proactive, just thinking on a day-to-day basis. This is kind of like a night and a day, okay? One 24-hour period. What little things can I do to improve my life? Okay. I think you're trying to make more conscious choices. You're trying to be proactive. You're not worried about the future. You're not worried about the past. You're thinking about right here today, what things can you do? What actionable things can you do to make your life better? You can make choices about your sleep quality, your intentional movement, choices about what you put into your body, choices about stress reduction, choice about relationships, choices about your sense of purpose, your spiritual experience. Yeah, on a day-to-day basis, not trying to compare to who you were yesterday, but just trying to do your very best today. One day at a time, one night and a day, Let's put this card into a little bit of context, okay? I feel like you're somebody who does very, very well with this kind of, contained change or these small steps. And we could even call the Two of Pentacles the baby steps, right? We have the Seven of Cups, a Six of Pentacles. Very good. I love the Six of Pentacles. The Hermit, the Magician, and the Three of Wands. Three of Wands is definitely a card of making better choices. It's a card of virtue, right? And basically, it's not anyone else's moral code, but it's your moral code. It's your virtue. It's your sense of what's right and wrong for you in your life. Not letting anybody else tell you what you should be doing, but saying what works for you. By figuring it out through trial and error. Making changes in your life, and then the Seven of Cups might be, that change didn't go so well. I don't like where that brought me, And the Seven of Cups could also be saying that you're identifying things in your life, not only positive things that you need to start doing, but the other way around, things that you need to stop doing. Okay, it's not about just doing more of the good stuff. It's about kind of doing less of the kind of the stressful stuff, doing less of the stuff that's not really so good for us, either physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, creatively. Let's see a Nine of Pentacles here somewhere, yeah? We have an Eight of Cups. We have the Emperor energy. You have the Lust card, and you have the Fool card. Okay, well, we don't have the Nine, but we do have the Six and the Three here. Okay, so technically we do have a Nine, so. Anyway, I like the major arcana that we have. We have a lot of them too, don't we? Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. And there it is. We're going to set it right here with Mr. Ed, our tiny horse, right there on top. And we're not going to look at that card, of course, until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give you the confirmation that you need at the end of this reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comments down below. All right. Now, it's Spirit's saying something about you making soup or bringing soup to like sick friends or something like that, like as a healthy gesture, as like a healing kind of thing. Maybe this is more about the physical healing than it is anything else. Okay, what is that one book, the Chicken Soup for the Soul kind of thing? That could be a little bit about what we're doing here, and we're trying to just find a way to have a better experience of life. To have more fun, to feel more free, to feel more alive, more vibrant, to bring ourselves back to how we ought to be, based on what you believe, not what anybody else is trying to tell you, especially with our emperor in the environment here. You don't have to listen to any kind of external authority. We can take advice from other people. Sure, I think you should. I kind of feel like you're exchanging ideas, or you're getting information from like YouTube, from online, from books and things like this, from your neighbor. But ultimately, you have to decide what is going to work for you. Okay. Anyway, let's look around the room. If you have a prediction for the mystery card, put it in the comments. We have major, 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 major. We've got fire. We've got water, no air. We have earth. Water and earth, water and earth. This is how you feel in your body. Your physical body and your emotional body are intimately connected together, woven together, right? So a lot of the time we feel our emotions in our body. And when we feel certain things in our body, let's say you got aches and pains, or you have digestion issues, it affects your emotional well-being too. Okay? So we're sort of, a lot of the time we feel our emotions in our body, and the other way around too. How we feel in our body affects our emotions. How we feel in our emotions affects our body, and it's an interconnected network like that. Okay. Now, Spirit is saying something about you exchanging something with a neighbor. I don't know if you're like swapping books or something like that, but something with the neighbor, yeah. And maybe that's kind of the best way for us to figure things like this out. Not by there being any kind of like authority, like what's the go-to authority for this kind of thing, but by kind of almost like real-world experience, sharing real-world information with our neighbors, friends, and family, and well, especially through YouTube is a great way to do that. Because we get like first-hand accounts from a lot of people. There's not just one authority that we all have to listen to and take our orders from, but it's how we share information with each other, and it's almost anecdotal, I guess, but it's like first-hand accounts of somebody else's experience that we may be able to say, okay, well, I wonder if that would work for me. Let me find out. Let me, if you're changing any kind of your health protocol or anything, talk to your doctor and get the clearance first, but to sort of be proactive. Yeah. Whether this is physical health, mental, emotional health, or spiritual, creative health. Yeah. Anyway, so we've got a lot of majors. The Seven of Cups here is, to me, the feeling that you currently have. You're making changes in your life, yes, because the Seven of Cups, something doesn't feel right. Either emotionally or physically. Probably both. Now, what came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. Maybe you figure that out. Maybe it's kind of, that's a silly question. Maybe they both happen at the same time, it evolved this way. So we don't know whether this began first as like a physical ailment and then now it's become an emotional thing, or the other way around. I don't think it really matters. I think they sort of both evolve together. So I feel that the Seven of Cups is you feeling a certain way and not wanting to feel that way anymore. So you're being proactive, you're making changes. Just self-contained units of a day, a night and a day, saying this is what you can do today. I don't know how yesterday's gonna affect me today, and I don't know how today's gonna affect tomorrow, but if I just do the very best today, right? You're focused on that. What can you do to feel better, or to feel as if you're making better choices today? Now you have to be careful here, because this doesn't need to be, I just want to feel pleasure today, and then that's all I care about. Like, we want to think of the future a little bit. And that's where we get our Three of Wands, okay? There is a virtue in what you're doing. And the virtue, I think, is to understand how your choices today really are affecting your tomorrow. Okay? If you believe in the correctness of your choices, then we don't have to worry about yesterday or tomorrow. We can just focus on today. You're making very good choices today for your long-term health without having to worry about, how is this choice affecting me long-term? You believe in your choices, So the Seven of Cups, like I was saying, is that feeling that we don't want to have anymore. And in order to get rid of that feeling, let's say it's a stomach ache. It's just talking about myself because I have digestive issues, right? I don't have a gallbladder, and I have a sensitive digestive system, and I don't want to have that digestive upset. So I know in my day-to-day choices, I've got to choose certain things instead of certain things. Can't have too much ice cream. I got to have more, root vegetables. I got to have, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and carrots and things like this. A little bit of pasta for the Italian in me. And, I got to have some healthy, cruciferous vegetables. I like kale. I like stuff like that. And those are the choices that I need to make in order to perhaps avoid the upset, to avoid that bad feeling that I don't want to have. Yeah. So this is about kind of doing more of the good stuff and less of the bad stuff for you personally, not any kind of a judgment. We don't see cards of judgment here. So you're not judging yourself. You're not getting mad at yourself when you have the bowl of ice cream or something, but you're understanding, like, you have the bowl of ice cream, you might get a tummy ache the next day or later that night. And so we just kind of understand the consequences of choices. We're not judging those. We're not going to get mad at ourselves. We're just trying to do our very best on any given day. You take a 24-hour period and you tell yourself, I'm going to try to make some good choices today. Plain and simple. And maybe the Seven of Cups are some things in your life that you need to do less of, whether it's people, places, things, something physical, financial. We could be talking about financial health here too, Or it's mental, emotional, or spiritual, creative. Some things just need to go. Okay. Underneath the surface, you have your Six of Pentacles, which is the card of success, material success. To me, this represents the 6 pillars of our health. So sleep, intentional movement, intentional eating, stress reduction, relationships, and a sense of purpose. I think that's 6. Those 6 pillars of health, I think this is your ideal, harmonious, internal environment. This is because it's under the surface. This is something within you. This is something that this is like the ideal image. This is how you want to experience life on the inside. Harmony, flow, balance, beauty. And so you're making these choices from the right place. You want to feel good, and you want to feel like you're in the flow with your body and your heart and your mind and your spirit. Not that we're out of phase, that we're sort of this is a dissonance, and this is a consonance. We're resonating with ourselves. Things are in harmony. Things are working together. That everything's flowing. It's like your digestion works well, and so you're more happy during the day, and then you're more happy during the day, and you have less digestive upset. It feeds in. It's a feedback loop. If your digestion's all messed up and you're grumpy and stressed, that stress is going to make your digestion worse. That digestion getting worse is going to make you more grumpy and more stressed out. Okay? So I think we're not trying to just fix one to then cross our fingers and pray for the other one. We're just trying to do both at the same time. We're making good, healthy physical choices, but then we're also finding ways to reduce our stress and try to be a little bit more positive and happy in our life through our relationships and our sense of purpose and through our engagement and how we reduce our stress, because we know that's going to help the physical body too. Right? Because it's interconnected. You cannot focus on one without focusing on the other as well. That's the Three of Wands. the virtue. Knowing that you're paying attention to the physical, financial, mental, emotional, and the spiritual creative. 1, 2, 3, right? All three of those planes, or all those three dimensions of your life, are getting the attention that they need. Now, maybe this is primarily about the physical stuff, or maybe it's primarily about your relationships. I got to find better relationships. I got to get rid of the bad ones and have more of the good ones, because that's gonna make my mental, emotional life better. Well, that's going to have some really good side effects on your physical body too. Okay, everything is connected, but that's the virtue of kind of knowing that the work I do, the attention you're giving one plane or one dimension of your life is having a positive effect in another area. That's virtue. Okay. There's the sort of more the virtue of, like, you find a wallet on the street. If somebody lost their wallet, you find it, you pick it up, there's money in it, there's credit cards, there's, that's something that may benefit you on the material plane. Oh, okay, I got, $100 out of their wallet. That's help. That's something that's giving you a plus on the physical realm, but it's doing terrible things to your spirit and to your mental and emotional health, right? So that's not virtuous. Okay, but giving that wallet back to the owner, or turning it into the coffee shop and say, hey, someone, forgot their wallet or something. That's something that's going to benefit you spiritually and mentally, emotionally. Probably going to benefit you physically too in some way, whether it's through karma, through that person gives you a reward, or kind of you make a friend or something, or it's a positive physical interaction, or maybe it sets you up down the road. You end up kind of stepping into some good luck, later on that day, something like that, right? So that's the sort of the virtuousness of our three of wands. And so that's how you're making your choices every day. You're thinking, I know that if I make a good food choice today, that's going to affect my mental, emotional well-being and my spiritual health. And it's kind of a no-brainer, And that's why we don't have to worry so much about the future, because we're making those choices now. And of course, that's 7. That's the feeling that we don't want to feel that kind of an upset. We want to feel this harmony. Okay, the hermit mode in the background here is interesting as well. This is a previous energy, a recent past energy. And I think that this is probably for you where you started to do this kind of work, the introspection, about looking at your internal state, looking at the 6, the internal 6. What is the state of your internal environment? Okay, you started looking within. The hermit's very introspective. I think you looked inside and you saw 7. You said, ooh, I don't like the way it feels in here. Whether this is more physical or mental, emotional, or whatever, it's kind of like you're looking at yourself. This is what you want to see: beauty, light, radiance, heart. This is a real clean energy, right? This doesn't look all that nice. Okay, so the hermit was that moment where you took that gander inside, and you said, I've got to make some changes. Okay. Now the magician at the top. This is your belief, your acknowledgement, your awareness, your realization that you can make these changes. Nothing worse than looking inside and feeling the 7 of Cups and thinking, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm too old. It's too late. I'm too tired. I'm too far gone, No, I'm somewhere in my 40s, and I feel like right now I have the best chance, the biggest opportunity to really get in the best shape of my life. I got to get up and do it, right? But that's the 3 of Wands that comes next, really. But first, we have to look inside, and we have to see what's really there, see what is there, and see what we want to be there. Okay, so first is looking. Then is believing that we can change and kind of figuring out how. This kind of is like what we need to change. This is how we're going to change it, and believing that we have the power to do it. And then, of course, the 3 of Wands is setting the intention, and is actually literally doing the thing. It's one thing to believe you can do it, to know what to do, and to know how to do it. It's another thing to actually start doing it. Yeah. And so this, I think, is you continuing to make good choices going forward in life. Now, Path of the Serpent. As we talk about these cards, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. The Eight of Cups now feels kind of like you're working on repairing the vessel. Whether it's your physical body, your finances, whether it's your heart and mind. We're starting to sort of patch things up so that it can hold more water. So it's almost, with the 7, it's almost like we have to clear out the bad stuff. It's kind of, I don't know. For me personally, sometimes I do water fasts. I do intermittent fasting on a day-to-day, but then sometimes I'll do a longer fast of like a couple days or even up to a week. Not recommending it, it's just what works for me, But sometimes you have to do a purge first. Clear out the old stuff. Clean out the basement, clean out the closet, flush the radiator, right? Whatever it is. And then you can see like where it needs to be fixed, repaired, where things need to be altered and changed, and then it starts to fill up with a really good water. Okay, it's kind of like you're gonna flush the system first, find the leaks, patch the leaks, and then you refill it. I've had a lot of radiator problems in my vehicles over the years. So this is that general energy for you, that you're in this mode of healing and repair. Okay, and so that's kind of a phase. I've been going through a kind of a gut healing, a gut repair kind of thing, taking a certain supplements, eating certain foods, avoiding certain foods, so that I can kind of do a gut reset. A lot of probiotic stuff, a lot of fermented foods, a lot of kimchi, a lot of kombucha, that sort of thing. Did you plant a tree for your birthday or something like that? Or why there's a tree that was kind of planted in your name or your honor, or it's symbolic kind of a planting of a tree? I think it's a tree, I don't know. Yeah, Spirit's referencing that, telling me to mention the tree. Anyway. This is kind of, allowing ourselves time to go through that healing. You've identified the leaks or the negative energy, and I think you're allowing that to leave. Okay, if this is financial, you've identified where all that extra spend, where all that money's going, right? And so we kind of stop that, and now we're trying to shore up the finances, heal the finances a little bit, right? And then, to be able to sustain the new lifestyle, let's say, into the future. I really hope the mystery card is a 9 of cups, because we're going from the 7 to the 8. I think the 9 would be wonderful to come next. So anyway, this is, you can see the cups here are kind of cracked and broken. They're chipped and they're leaking water. So we're patching those leaks. We're going through that healing phase or that repair phase. Okay. The Emperor in the environment. It may be at first that we need someone to tell us what to do. Yeah. Sometimes we need, this would be a personal trainer. This would be a financial advisor. This would be somebody that you trust that's kind of telling you this is what you're supposed to do. Sometimes we need a drill sergeant in our life, And you could be somebody that responds quite well to that, to somebody that can tell you what to do and when to do it, or to set something up in your life to hold you accountable. That doesn't mean that you're giving the keys, to the kingdom away to somebody else and they're just going to be a dictator on you, and maybe that's what you respond to. Okay, maybe not. But this is the idea of perhaps like a buddy system, or in some way holding yourself accountable, setting up some kind of metrics for yourself, or like, something that you have to kind of report in, even if it's just with you, even if you're trying to be your own authority here, to hold yourself accountable. Okay, and maybe this is through like an app on your phone, or it's through like journaling, or it's between you and Spirit, right? Or it could be you and your friend, or your spouse, or your neighbor, where we're kind of doing it together, And we have to just kind of report back what our progress was. It's just a way to keep us engaged, keep us disciplined and focused, okay? But this position in the spread, this is your relationships and this is in your environment, yeah? So I don't know that you really respond too well to somebody like, taking control over your life. You might be the type of person that if somebody tells you to do it, you're going to do the opposite. So try to be a little bit more tolerant of that kind of energy. Doesn't mean that you have to let somebody else like berate you or really like literally act like a drill sergeant, but find a way to hold yourself accountable. This is something around you in the environment to help you stay on track and to help motivate you. But if it's just discouraging you and making you feel bad and making you feel ashamed and guilty, well, it's not serving its purpose and you need to kick that person the heck out of there. Okay? Make sure it's working for you. Whatever system you're using, as long as it works, it's up to you. If you need somebody that's going to call you every morning at 6 a.m. and yell at you and wake you up, fine. As long as it works to keep you on track, to keep you motivated, and to keep you disciplined. Okay? Whether maybe you can do that yourself, maybe you need to do it with an app on your phone or setting alarms, timers, reminders. Doing the Post-it notes all around the house, affirmations, or whatever it is that is going to work for you. Make sure you set up that kind of external system so you can create in your environment the motivation that you need. So that everywhere you turn or whatever, right, there's something there that reminds you to keep going. Yeah. Okay. The next card is interesting because it's the lust card. It's the appetites. That is your passion. That's your hunger, right? And in some ways, that's the motivation. And so this might be a way for you to sublimate some of this energy. This is kind of like you're hungry. You have an appetite. You're ravenous. You want to just eat all the delicious food that's there, right? This is about self-restraint. This is about not suppressing our appetite, but instead channeling it. So this is not saying you got to go on like a 1,200 calorie a day kind of thing or something, right? Whatever works for you. Talk to your doctor, obviously. I'm no professional, right? Find what works for you, but this isn't about restriction. This is about channeling or sublimation. Okay, so you have that ravenous appetite, channel that toward healthy food, channel that into physical movement or activity, channel that into creativity, right? That energy has to go somewhere. And if we just try to deny it, it's just building up in your unconscious and eventually it's gonna just go wild and it's gonna eat everything in the fridge, So it's not about like domesticating this lion. It's about just trying to tame it a little bit so it can kind of follow directions. It still has all that power. The lion's got to be a lion. It needs to like tear something apart. It needs to feel powerful. It's just how we're directing that, how we're nudging that energy in a positive direction. In a very literal way, though, this card is about trying to get a handle on or some sort of control over or discipline around our appetites, our hunger, our desires, whether it's physical, financial, mental, emotional, or spiritual, creative. Okay? Being able to harness that power that we have, that hunger, that appetite that we have, and channeling it into positive and constructive and healthy avenues. Okay. The Fool is very interesting here at the end too, because the Fool, in a way, is no discipline at all, right? The Fool is a big zero. The Fool is kind of unencumbered. The Fool is free. Okay. The Fool might be literally the idea of the reset now has been achieved. That we've done the cleansing, you've gone through all this other energy. And the result is a renewed spirit, The result is you're 20 years younger, The result is kind of a reset. It's almost like we're kind of returning to our natural, wholesome, fresh out of the box kind of brand new state. Yeah, that it's almost like we're getting a second chance to kind of to start again from like I don't know. It's like you fix the car, and now the car you get a new paint job, you fix all the dents. It's like a brand new car, you know. And so it may be like a new lease on life. It may be that we've had the opportunity to kind of reinvent ourselves, you know. To me, this feels like no matter what age we are, we can get back to that 0 point where it's just like we feel like this is a new day. This is the best shape of my life. I'm in the best health I've ever been in. And so it's in a way a return to youth. Yeah, it's almost like we've been born again. We've been given or have created kind of a new start. Yeah. Feels like a rebirth. Yeah. A return to that original state. Yeah. And so in some ways it's kind of returning to that state of health that we would have been in, you know, had we not accumulated some bad habits along the way, you know. So to me that would be, you know, the gut healing, let's say. Back to that point where it's like it's a brand new stomach now, you know. Maybe not literally, but kind of being given, creating / being given that second chance. It's a renewal. Yeah. Let's look at the mystery card. I would love to see a card of health and well-being, a card of healing, maybe the Empress, maybe a 6 of something. Yeah, I think that would be good. A 9 or a 10 of something would be good too. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments down below. Spirit's referencing the shopping bags, the reusable shopping bags that you have in your car. I don't know, maybe you've been looking for them. They're in the car already. Okay, the shopping bags. Anyway, let's see what we have. The Judgment. A rebirth, reawakening. Waking up to a new life. This is the spiritual alarm clock. This is Spirit blowing a trumpet in your face saying, hey, it's time to wake up. Yeah. And so I think this is it. I think that you've had the wake-up call. And it's kind of the wake-up call that says, we got to do it now, otherwise we're never going to do it. You know, it's never too late to start. The best time to have started this whole process would have been yesterday. The second best time to start, right now. This is that spiritual alarm clock. And maybe you had a scare recently, or like something like literally kind of like woke you up, made you say, whoa, okay, better make some changes. Okay, this is kind of a reminder of that. Maybe this is saying that, hey, the wake-up call's coming, you know. I feel like you've already heard the wake-up call. Maybe this is here to say, stay awake. Don't go back to sleep. Don't fall back into your old habits. Stay awake, alert, stay vigilant, stay disciplined, stay accountable. Don't fall back asleep. Okay? This is a big shift. Now, we're going to do an extended reading as well. If you want to stick around, we'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Gemini Wednesdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you are watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.